building a brand that you're looking to take to a level that could be acquired, whether it's private equity or venture capital or the strategic side, we both know and everybody knows that leadership is very important. If I'm the CEO of a young company, I'm wondering to the acquirer if they're a strategic, and typically the strategics come to play with a lot of leadership of their own, a lot of great leadership, and they've already got distribution channels and some of the operational components as well. But specifically to leadership, what's important to the strategic when it comes to looking at an acquisition in terms of the leadership that's there versus the leadership that's not? What they might be outsourcing, consultants they might have on, versus people that are dedicated to the brand, especially small brands that don't necessarily always have the capital that they need to hire the best leadership. Where's that line? What's important to the strategic when it comes to leadership?
It's a very insightful question, Robert, and one that's extremely important to any strategic investor that's looking to either invest in or acquire outright an entrepreneurial venture. You made one comment which I think is astute and probably should be at the top of the list, and that's that most entrepreneurial companies don't have the capital internally to go out and hire your traditional top-line CPG or Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000 company marketing, selling, controlling, chief financial officer, CEO types, because they command a lot of money with high bonus structure, et cetera. So you need to be extremely well-rounded and have the ability early on to attract a few people that are willing to risk, because that's what entrepreneurial energy is. There's no assurances that when you start a company you're going to take it to its end goal. And with mortality, as you and I have spoken many times in the industry, right around 93%, it doesn't give you very good odds that in the end you're going to be successful in any stead. So although I'm very supportive of entrepreneurial ventures, the numbers just don't prove out that without really good advice, surrounding yourself with people, oftentimes from a consultative standpoint or a board of advisors, that if you don't do that, your chances of succeeding are probably lessened and sometimes lessened dramatically. Mm-hmm. So from the traditional platforms of management, general management, sales, marketing, finance, supply chain, production, all of those areas are going to be really important at some point in time to fill. If you're a marketing company versus a completely vertically integrated company where you actually manage production or supply side sourcing of ingredients and product, you're producing them, you're packaging them, you're setting the marketing strategy, and then you're selling the same product. Many companies don't do that today because it requires an incredible amount of talent and obviously more money because you're typically more capital intensive from the production side as an example. Right. But most companies that are marketing driven are very oriented towards bringing in one or two smart folks who have multitasking and multi-talent ability and using their talents to be able to get to that level where you can start attracting capital, whether it's a strategic partner or just a private equity transaction or even larger angel investments. And so from the outside looking in, to answer your question directly, I think strategic interests are always going to be looking at who your top-level management is, what their background was, what their sophistication level is, their worldliness, their abilities to communicate, their abilities to understand new world technologies. All of those things are going to be very important as they're adjudicated during the due diligence process by any outside financial entity.
What is, when I sell, let's just assume that I'm now at $10, $12 million in sales or $20 million in sales, and I've just sold to a strategic. From a leadership standpoint, what should I expect? Should I be expecting to, kind of turn over the leadership mantle to that strategic? Should I be expecting that the strategic is going to rely on me and my team to continue to build the brand? Is it, both answers, depending on who you sell to? What should I expect in terms of what happens to me and my team if and when that acquisition occurs?
Well, the first answer to that would probably be you should be expecting exactly what you agreed to. And what I mean by that is, as the CEO of a company or general manager or driving force, you need to have a very clear vision before you even start down that road of negotiating with a strategic partner or financial investor, what your role and your responsibilities are going to be post-transaction. Because if you haven't thought about that and they haven't thought about it, I guarantee you they will have thought about it, and they will grill you to the nines, prior to making any kind of transaction official. But in reality, you need to make sure that whoever you're dealing with is going to be a good fit for you. To answer your question specifically, if you want to maintain your position as the authoritative, buck stops with me type of position post-transaction, then you need to negotiate that in the transaction. You're going to need to prove to them, or they're going to need to be satisfied that you have the ability to protect their investment and take the company to the levels which you have provided in your pro formas in out years, 3, 4, and 5. You'll be able to make a $20 million company, a $200 or $300 million company. They'll have a handsome return on investment, and you then will, during the exit, also be handsomely rewarded for your efforts. If you have areas in your company where there might be either perceived or real weaknesses, as an example, not a strong definitive player in the marketing seat, or the same in the sales seat, or you don't have a chief financial officer that has the ability to take you from a $10 million company to a $100 million company because they really don't understand supply chain or production management or whatever the issue, then those are areas that will need to be bolstered up. And hopefully the strategic that's coming in to invest in your company will have recognized that and will probably have oftentimes many things that they can bring to the plate, whether it's loaning executives to you, together you're developing a resume structure that will attract new people to your company, and you'll go out and hire another VP of marketing at the level to which we spoke earlier, a Fortune 500 type level, and that's how you take a company from 20 or 30 million to 100 or 200 or 300, because they have a different skill set, and their abilities to work with larger numbers and understand some of the more difficult complexities of business growth are greater than those who may not have had that type of experience. And